presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Southwest.
The longest homestand of the season has turned into the most memorable for your Rangers. 8 wins in the first 9 games. From the excitement of a walk-off to several explosive blowouts. They continue to have the best record in the American League and have created wide separation in the West Division race. Today, they try to cap it off with Yu Darvish set to meet the Astros next on Fox Sports Southwest. It is a breezy, muggy afternoon here in North Texas. Globe Life Park is the scene. The Rangers, though, make the temperature pale in comparison to how hot they are swinging the bat. This afternoon, they look for their second straight sweep as they take on the Houston Astros. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Graves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us this Sunday afternoon. The Rangers are hot, 8-1 on this homestand. They have won 7 games in a row, and that ties the longest streak they've had this year. They're looking to set a new standard in that. This afternoon, they'll go against the Astros. And Tom, a guy that has torn the Astros up since he made his Major League debut against them, Rougned Odor.
Yeah, Rugi has definitely done that, Buzz. And over the last couple of days, we've been talking about the offense and how the pieces have finally looked like they're starting to come together, and it's starting to gel. And Rougned is definitely one of the strong reasons why. When you look at what he's done in this homestand, he's hit over 300. That's okay. But 5 home runs, 3 doubles for 8 extra base hits. He's knocked in 14 runs. 6 of his last 9 hits have gone for extra bases. The whole lineup is hot, but Rugi is really hot, and he's kind of stirring this drink right now.
Yes, he is. He is the spark plug right in the middle of this thing right now, and Yu Darvish loves it. He would love to have the offense produce 10 or more runs again this afternoon. Darvish 3-0 in his last 5 starts. Rangers looking to make that 4-0. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by high-speed internet from AT&T. your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer today during the final days of the Ford Freedom Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. By Budweiser, not backing down since 1876. This Bud's for you. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And the partly cloudy afternoon, Rangers out of the positions. The youngsters out there getting the signed baseballs from each Ranger starter here this afternoon. Before we get things underway for the final game of this homestand and this series, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, Buzz, when the Rangers started this 10-game homestand, Jeff Bannister didn't want to put too much emphasis on the importance of it. But given who the Rangers were playing in these three series, the Cleveland, the Mariners, and of course these Houston Astros, it was very important. Also, too, considering the time of year. Now, looking back, 9 games in, 8-1, Banny very pleased with what his team has been able to do thus far.
Winning series were important, but to be able to really get the multiple wins has been crucial for us, and it still is. We've still got another day on this homestand, and there's a lot of importance on this game too. So we still need to go out and play good baseball.
And I think that's been one of the hallmarks of this team, is the fact that not only do they never ever quit, but they're also never satisfied. It seems like regardless of how high their level of play is, they always feel like they can do something better. Case in point, what Jeff Bannister just said, the fact that they're 8-1, the goal, of course, now and the desire is to be 9-1 at the conclusion of this 10-game homestand, Buzz.
All right, Dan, thanks very much. Yeah, that's a good point. Important difference between being okay with how things are and being satisfied and complacent. So Rangers obviously not there. Well, Tom's going to tell you now about the Houston Astros lineup that will face HOU Darvish today.
Similar look to the top of the order with George Springer leading off. Springer has 76 walks this year. That's the 4th most in the American League. Alex Bregman bats second. He's going to play second base today. Altuve is third, and he will DH. Carlos Correa is the cleanup hitter at shortstop. Yulieski Gurriel will move from first base over to third. Evan Gattis is the catcher. Colby Rasmus will play left field. Tyler White gets the start, bats 8th at first base. And batting 9th, the center fielder, Jake Marisnick.
And A.J. Hinch's lineup facing HOU Darvish, who makes his 13th start of the year. Darvish 3-0 in his last 5 starts, as we mentioned. Rangers have won all 5 of those outings behind HOU Darvish. He also has a streak of 8 consecutive quality starts under his belt. And the first pitch of the afternoon is outside to George Springer. Springer at 254 with 25 home runs. That's tops on the Astro club. 73 RBI, and he's had fairly good success against Darvish in the past. He was 3 for 9. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now the Rangers' 7-game winning streak. They have won 9 of their last 10 ball games. They are 47-21 here at home this year. That is the 2nd best home record in all of baseball. Only the Chicago Cubs are better. That ball's blistered up the alley in left center field and deep. It is gone. And George Springer continues his pounding of HOU Darvish. A leadoff home run. It's 1-0 Houston.
Well, Springer combines power with speed and patience at the plate. Pretty good qualities in a leadoff hitter. You would think he'll probably hit for a higher average as he gets more accustomed to the big leagues. But he can put a charge in the ball. That's his 26th home run, and he's in the top 5 in walks. So pretty good combination. Probably look at the Astros leadoff hitter for many years to come.
No, very quickly 1-0, and now Alex Bregman goes after that first Darvish pitch. It is strike 1 after the foul ball. So for the 3rd consecutive game now against Houston, the Rangers trailing 1-0 early. Houston got off to a 2-0 advantage here on Friday night. 1-0 yesterday. The Rangers have come back within the first 3 innings plus to at least tie the ball game, if not take the lead. Saw the location of that pitch down, but right out in the middle of the plate, and that gave Springer an opportunity to get his arms extended. Bregman a check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Alan Porter down at first. pumping up that right fist. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bregman batting at .248 with half a dozen home runs and 23 RBI. He's moved over to second base this afternoon with Jose Altuve handling the DH chores. Another sweeper that is outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's Altuve, who kind of tweaked his calf muscle on that ground out into the double play that ended yesterday's ball game. If you were watching the ball game yesterday, you noticed that Altuve kind of gimpy going down the line, and he is DHing this afternoon, a partial day off. Fouled straight back and out of play. It is still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Bregman. Bregman, a shortstop by trade coming up through the minor leagues, but he had been playing third base. I don't think he's going to push Carlos Correa anywhere. Correa pretty well ensconced at that shortstop spot for the Astros for a while. Up the middle slowly. Odor, off balance throw, can't get enough on it, and Bregman has an infield single. But once that ball got by Darvish, not much that either middle infielder, Andrews or Odor, could do about it.
Not only a certain low percentage of runners that you might throw out. It's a nice play by Rookie to get that far over, basically over toward shortstop, and still make an accurate throw. But you can see how easily Bregman beat that ball out.
No, still nobody out. Bregman aboard at first. Jose Altuve, a .348 hitter. That is tops in all of baseball. 22 home runs, 89 RBI. 1 ball and no strikes. Five for 25 against Darvish. So HOU has handled Altuve reasonably well. Ball 2. Darvish. It would appear after that leadoff home run by Springer on a fastball that Darvish a little hesitant to go back to the fastball. He has thrown a lot of breaking balls here in the early going, which is kind of counter to what we have seen him operate with in the first inning of his last several starts. Bregman, a pretty good lead. Here's a fastball, and it's 2-1 on the foul ball. Darvish, 19% off-speed pitches is all against right-handed hitters in his last start against Seattle. That's a pretty good indication of what HOU Darvish thought of his fastball and how well he was able to implement it, normally to both sides of the plate. 2-1 to Altuve. Now 2-2, another fastball. Now Altuve, looking at his rankings this season, averages first, hits are first, on base percentage second. These are in the American League. Multi-hit games, average with runners in scoring position, all second, third in stolen bases, and 5th in slugging percentage.
Yeah, if you apply the old boxing term, pound for pound, who's the best? There's no doubt who the best is. Altuve, he's 5'6". And look where he ranks in those numbers. Those aren't just on base percentage and base hit kind of numbers. Those are the big boy numbers. Slugging percentage, runs batted in, OPS. Puts a charge in it, boy.
His OPS is just shy of 1,000.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. 968 coming into play this afternoon. That's usually reserved for, as you say, Tom, the big guys, the guys that hit the ball out of the ballpark, the Miguel Cabreras and Mike Trouts. Another 2-2 pitch coming from Darvish. There goes Bregman. The pitch is outside. The throw is not in time. Bregman got a huge dump, and he also picked the right pitch as Darvish threw that slow curveball. Not much of a chance for Jonathan Lucroy to nail Bregman.
Yeah, most of the times when you see Lucroy make a throw that bounces, it's for one reason. He had to rush so quickly to get rid of it. It's pretty remarkable that he was able to catch and throw this ball anyway. It was a ball, as you described it, Buzz, a breaking ball down that bounced. And so he had to backhand the short hop transfer it to his throwing hand and get it down there. Pretty tough task.
And look at that replay. It didn't look like he really got a great grip on the ball with his throwing hand either.
I don't think he did.
3-2 pitch is inside. Altuve draws the walk. So Darvish, again, a lot of breaking balls. And fell behind Altuve, came back with a couple of fastballs, got the count even. Lost him on a 3-2 breaking ball. Another Ranger defense this afternoon behind you, Darvish, brought to you by Brake Check. Gomez, Desmond, and Mazzaro, left, center, and right. Moreland, Odor, Profar at short. And Adrian Beltre at third with Jonathan Lucroy catching. So the first three Astros have reached base this afternoon against Yu Darvish. The leadoff home run by Springer. Alex Bregman's infield single and the walk to Jose Altuve. That brings up Carlos Correa. Yu Darvish is going to have to do a pretty good job now, maybe a little fancy footwork to work around any further damage here in the first. Correa, the team leader with 90 runs driven in, 19 home runs for the young shortstop. First pitch breaking ball for strike one. Correa, maybe the biggest at bat yesterday for the Astros, came up with the bases full and one out against Keone Kela. And Kelly got him to hit into an inning-ending double play. It really was the last chance the Astros had before the Rangers busted things open.
Yeah, it was the game was still in doubt at that point in time.
5-2 at that juncture, and tying and go-ahead runs, either on base or at the plate. Left center field, Gomez making the catch. Bregman tagging at second. He will advance to third. Throw comes into second. Well, Correa fly out for the first out here in the first inning. Now runners at the corners for Yulieski Gurriel.
Carlos got that ball into second so quickly. I don't think Altuve even had a chance to take a few steps towards second base to fake like he might want to go. And he wanted to keep the double play in order, which was smart based on where he was out there. He wasn't going to have much of a chance at third base, but doesn't waste any time unloading this strike to second base.
Carlos Gomez, we had talked about it. A five-tool player when he came up. Possesses that great ability in the outfield, the arm and the ability to cover a lot of ground too. A center fielder by trade, playing in left field now next to Ian Desmond, who's playing center. Here is Gurriel. 321 is his batting average. No home runs, a couple driven in. Gurriel, who made his major league debut about 12 days ago with the Astros. Rangers at double play depth up the middle, shading Gurriel a couple of steps to the left. 1 ball and no strikes. Yu Darvish here in the early going, and you can see a lot more off-speed pitches than fastballs. Fewer than 50% fastballs, which is kind of contrary to what he's been doing lately. Little looper into right field. That's going to fall for a base hit. In to score Bregman. Altuve to second. And Gurriel, a looping RBI single, makes it 2-0 Houston.
Gurriel just got jammed and fought this ball off. That's the kind of ball as a hitter. You hit a ball like that and you're not too excited about it. In fact, you're kind of upset that you swung at a pitch inside and felt like you're going to make an out. Then you look up and say, man, the ball's going to fall in for an RBI. I feel a lot better than I thought I was going to feel right now. Kind of like that feeling.
It'll take a sore thumb for that kind of a base hit with an RBI.
Yep, definitely will.
So Doug Brocail out very quickly to talk to Yu Darvish and company. First and second, still just one out. Evan Gattis, the hitter. And Gattis has been one of the hottest Astros swinging the bat of late. He had a 3-hit game yesterday, and he hit 3 lasers. Hit a home run that Took about 2 seconds to get out of the ballpark over to left center field. Had a couple of singles he hit equally hard.
Yeah, I think this is the best Gattis has ever looked against the Rangers anyway as a hitter. There's been times where he's provided power and been a dangerous hitter, but right now he looks like a good hitter. He's not swinging at as many pitches out of the strike zone, and when he does swing, he's making contact.
Yeah, that graphic right there would tell you 4 home runs and 9 RBI in his last 8 games. He's getting the production to go along with how good he looks. 0-1 pitch to him. 0-2. Darvish continuing to go with the off-speed stuff.
The other thing that seems to bring out the best in Gattis is when he catches. He's hit much better than when he's DH'd. His average as a catcher, and fairly good sample, 43 games, is 295.
Darvish a couple of slower breaking balls and came back with 94 with a little extra mustard. Strikeout number 1. That's out number 2.
Yeah, that was a good combination by Darvish against a hot hitter. Get ahead with slow pitches and then sneak the fast one by him before he's had a chance to gauge your fastball.
Yeah, nothing fancy about that. Fastball pretty much in the middle of the plate. And Gattis not able to handle it. So 2 outs. Here is Colby Rasmus. Rasmus didn't play in yesterday's ball game. Steps in hitting at .210. 13 home runs, 49 driven in. Rasmus kind of an all or nothing guy, especially lately. 3 of his last 4 hits have left the ballpark. Ranger infield in an overshift with Elvis Andrus on the first base side of second by 3 or 4 steps. 2 balls, no strikes. Good look at the Ranger defense. Adrian Beltre with Altuve at second, forced to play nearer third base than he would in a normal overshift. He's got to be able to get to the bag if Altuve decides to try and swipe third. Check swing. It's a strike. 2-1. Saw that pass graphic for Rasmus. Struggling a bit of late. He just came off the disabled list on Tuesday. Still trying to get his timing back where he wants it. That pitch a little bit low, and the count is 3-1.
Yeah, that might have been low to Wilt Chamberlain.
You, Darvish, you saw the stare of displeasure. Jonathan Lucroy saying Jerry Lane, the home plate umpire, where exactly was that? Lane said, I have no idea. It wasn't a strike, though. 3-1 the count. Lost him. Well, that's going to load the bases up now for Tyler White. Now, this is not a new predicament, maybe to this extent it might be, but Yu Darvish has had some problems in the first inning this year, especially with leadoff men. Batters leading off an inning are hitting .348 against him, including now 7 for 12 in the first batter of the game. And George Springer's home run got that going the wrong way. Darvish, though, if he's able to work through the first inning in pretty good shape, then settles down very nicely. That first frame can be a bit of a problem. 2 outs, bases full. Tyler White, a .216 hitter, and he's come off the bench each of the last 2 games and delivered run-scoring doubles. Nothing in 1. Darvish pumping that up a little bit at 96. .287 on base percentage. Tyler White, he was the American League Player of the Week the first week of the season. The rookie making his foray into the regular season very memorable. That's out of play, and Darvish quickly in front of the count at 0-2.
Yeah, back throwing 2 good fastballs, both of them 96-mile-an-hour fastballs. Over 30 pitches, 31 to be exact here in the first inning. Trying to end this first inning with only 2 runs scoring by getting Tyler White right here. Got a good start with those 2 mid-90s fastballs.
This big Sunday afternoon crowd getting behind Yu Darvish. 0-2 pitch. Fouled away.
That's one of the better day crowds we've had all year, other than opening day. Big crowd, almost a sellout.
Yeah, you're looking at over 40,000 on hand there this Sunday.
Generally, when there's people sitting at each end of the upper deck, that's a pretty good indication there's no empty seats.
And again, the U's come out here at Globe Life Park. Poked on the ground out to Odor. Up and throwing, and that'll do it. So Darvish gets stung for 2 runs, but he leaves the bases full. 2 runs on 3 hits and 3 left. After a half inning, Houston 2, the Rangers coming up. First, Rangers coming to bat. Tom's going to tell you about the Southwest Airlines Rangers batting order.
Nomar Mazara will start the game as the leadoff hitter and play right field. Ian Desmond is batting second. Carlos Beltran with a 6-game hitting streak bats third. Adrian Beltre is the cleanup hitter. Rougned Odor, 9 for his last 19, is at second. Jonathan Lucroy has a 6-game streak of his own. He's batting sixth. Mitch Moreland is batting seventh at first base. Carlos Gomez will bat eighth. Batting ninth. Getting the start this afternoon at shortstop in place of Elvis Andrus is Jurickson Profar.
And that lineup facing the 29-year-old right-hander Colin McHugh. McHugh, fastball cutter, curveball is his big pitch. And you might have figured that out since he started Nomar Mazara off with a curveball. Rangers roughed him up last time. He had 7 hits and 4 earned runs in 3 2/3. Rangers try to use the same approach, and that means laying off that breaking ball until you have to swing at it. And Nomar Mazara leading things off behind in the count at 1-2. Tied for the most home runs by an American League rookie. And Mazara foul tips it into the glove of Evan Gattis. That is the first out here this afternoon.
On yesterday's game against Joe Musgrove, it was almost the exact same pitch, a curveball down and in. Nomar struck out. I have to think that Colin McHugh came to the ballpark today saying to himself, if I'm ever going to have my best curveball, today's probably the day I want to do it. He's watched what the Rangers have done first 2 games of this series and knows that hanging curveballs are a dangerous thing to throw today. I'm sure he'll be bearing down, try to keep it, as you said, Buzz, trying to keep that curveball down.
He throws strike one with a fastball to Ian Desmond. Desmond at 291 had a couple of hits yesterday. 21 home runs, 80 RBI. There's that curveball. 0-2 to Desmond. Mentioned the start that McHugh had in June against the Rangers. He had 6 strikeouts in 3 2/3 innings. The Rangers, as you notice, roughed him up pretty good. Slowly topped foul, and we'll come back and try it again. Other than that bad outing, McHugh has gone 4-1 against the Rangers in past matchups. 33 innings of work. Rangers have gotten to him for 47 hits in those 33 innings. But he's kept them off the board pretty effectively.
Yeah, McHugh is one of those guys. If he's given up 180 hits this year and a 301 opponent's batting average, but if you face him on a day when he's got his best curveball and good command of his fastball, then he can be very tough. Last couple of years he's gone 30-16 in a starting role. Watch out.
Firing for effect. Up and in. And get Ian Desmond off the plate a bit. Most hits allowed in the American League. David Price leading the group with 187. McHugh down there at 4th with the 180 that Tom told you about. Right off the end of the bat, up the middle. And Correa throws out Desmond. 2 gone. Let's take a look at the rest of the Astros defense behind Colin McHugh here this afternoon. Outfield of Rasmus, Marisnik, and Springer left, center, and right. Tyler White at first base. Alex Bregman gets the start at second with Carlos Correa, who you saw at short. Gurriel, at third base, and Evan Gattis behind the plate. Carlos Beltran takes a knee-high strike. Beltran, 295 overall, 26 home runs. And he shoots this one foul down the first base side. Beltran as a Ranger this year, hitting at 264. 4 of his 26 home runs have come in the first month of his Ranger tenure. 6-game hitting streak coming into play this afternoon. He's hitting a cool 458. Now Beltran, tired of waiting, asked Jerry Lane for time. And the 0-2 pitch. Beltran just 1 out of 6 against Colin McHugh in past matchups. Got him swinging, waving at that curveball, and McHugh gets a couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 first. After 1, the Astros 2, the Rangers nothing. 2 innings against Derek Holland and the Rangers. And we all know that what happened when the Rangers came back. They won those 2 games handily. Well, here's Jake Marisnick, the number 9 hitter, to lead things off against Yu Darvish. And Darvish pumping in a fastball for strike 1. Marisnick, a .217 average, 5 home runs, 14 RBI. Marisnick on a little bit of a home run tear. Wave and a miss on the breaking ball. Marisnick has 3 home runs in his last dozen ball games. As you can see, that graphic telling you he's turned it up a little bit. And turning it up a little bit is Yu Darvish for his 2nd strikeout. And let's welcome in Jim Knox.
Appreciate it, Buzz. What a great crowd we have today. We also have the plungers out. I've never seen that before. Flush the Astros. And look who we have here. Ranger Fan of the Year, Don with her broom.
Yeah, Jim, that's it. I get to break the broom out twice this homestand. We already done swept the Mariners away, and we trying to sweep these Astros away today. Let's go, Rangers!
I like that spirit, Buzz.
All right, Nazi. Leave it to Don to get everybody fired up down there. So 1 out on the punch out of Marisnick. Now back to the top of the order. George Springer, who hit his 26th home run of the year into the Astros bullpen as he led things off up there for the 2nd time. 1 ball and no strikes. Springer now 74 RBI, and the home run accounted for his 100th run scored of the year. Outside corner, it is 1-1. Springer, by getting to 100 runs scored, becomes the first Astro since Lance Berkman back in 2008 scored 114 runs for the Astros. One and 2. Well, the Astros, having lost the first 2 games of this series against the Rangers, now 32-35 on the road. They still have been one of the better road teams since back in late June. A.J. Hinch's club on the road since actually the middle of June. Have gone 19-14. That's the top record since that time in Major League Baseball. Darvish ready for the 1-2 pitch. That will even the count.
The Rangers find themselves at 82-54, 28 games above 500. They're 11-4 against Seattle and 13-2 against Houston. So 18 of the 28 games over 500 have come against the 2 closest opponents in the American League West. I guess if you were going to write it up, that's kind of the way you'd want to do it. Take care of your opposition and end up with a great record. 28 games over right now.
The Rangers a pretty good streak going in the last several years against the Astros too.
Yeah.
It buried them pretty well last year. You go back to the start of 2015. Rangers have pounded the Astros. Only lost 5 games to them. Got him swinging. Slider stayed up a little bit, but enough to get it by Springer. Strikeout number 3 for Darvish. Talking about Yu Darvish and the strikeouts, he gets opponents to swing and miss 37% of his pitches. And even though that slider wasn't a perfect down and away pitch, this is the break, the late break, and a little bit off speed. Did what you want a slider to do, and that's looked like a fastball coming out of your hand. Here's Bregman. It's ball 1. Darvish back to him. 1 ball and 1 strike. You were talking, Tom, about that 28 games over 500. That's the first time for the Rangers to get to that mark since 2012 in September of that year. Beltre made a nice hop over to first, and that'll do it. So a couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 inning for Yu Darvish, who settles in nicely. 2-0 Astros. Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by the all-new 3-row Mazda CX-9, meticulously crafted for driving because driving matters. A large crowd out here at Globe Life Park on this Sunday afternoon. Adrian Beltre leading off for the Rangers. He was trying to get one of those runs back, and he almost screwed himself into the ground.
He tried to wait.
Beltre now 26 home runs for the year. He has been on a long ball tear. Hit his 439th career home run yesterday. He's had home runs in 5 of his last 9 games. He's fouled back, coming our way, but a little bit short. 0-2 to Beltre. Adrian now with those 439 career home runs, tied with Paul Konerko. See right there, Konerko and Beltre at 42nd. Jason Giambi next at 440, and then Dave Kingman. That ball's ripped down the left field line. Beltre couldn't run. He fell down. And it's foul.
He's definitely loose after a couple of these swings.
He is.
Went down on one knee. He goes down as that curveball keeps going down closer to the ground. Gives him a better chance to get the good part of the bat on it.
Up the middle, but the second baseman Bregman is playing on the shortstop side of second and throws out Beltre. Well, that was an interesting at bat. Adrian coming out of his shoes on the first curveball, went down to his shoes and down to his knees on one of them. Grounded out sharply on a fastball. Next will be Rougned Odor. Odor did not homer last time for the first time in 4 games. That's the unusual part of that game for Odor. Still had a base hit and drove in a couple. Odor, 28 home runs, tops on the ball club, 76 runs driven in. Nothing at 2. And one thing Colin McHugh has shown the inclination and ability to do today was get ahead of hitters. He has done that very well to the 4 hitters now that he has faced. Make that 5 hitters that he's faced. down at the shoe tops of Brunette. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Our analytics stat of the day for you. First pitch strikes. Colin McHugh right up there among the leaders in Major League Baseball. 68% of the hitters he's gotten ahead with the first strike. 2-2. Saw Rugnet at 277 with the average. It has come up quite a bit on this homestand. And he takes that ball in the dirt. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. And why has that happened? Well, he's hit 324 in the first 9 games of this homestand. 5 home runs. So he and Beltre keeping pace with each other. That's pretty good internal competition for you. And 14 RBI in the 9 games. Run the count full, facing Colin McHugh. Odor hitting 5th this afternoon. Jonathan Lucroy back in the lineup, catching and hitting 6th. He will be next. McHugh with a 3-2 pitch. Ripped to right field, a base hit. An off-speed pitch hung up there, and looked at Odor smashing it to right for a single.
That's kind of what we're talking about with McHugh. That's a very good curveball that he has, as long as you keep it down. But you run the risk of having it hit hard when you get it up, and that's what Odor did. And it's not the first time he's hit that type of a pitch hanging on the outside corner. He can reach out and yank that thing to right field and hit it 400 feet if he gets it up in the air.
Odor is the first base runner of the afternoon for the Rangers. And here's Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy missed yesterday's game, had a touch of the flu. Came to the ballpark early in the morning and wasn't really feeling very good. So Jeff Bannister said, now you take the afternoon off. They got him some IV fluids. He's back in there today. A hot hitter also, a 304 average with the Rangers overall this season, hitting at 300 with 21 home runs and 68 RBI. McHugh, as you can tell by that move, very quick feet. Gets the ball to first base on pickoffs very effectively. Good athlete. Rugnet Odor and all the Ranger base runners need to be aware of McHugh's ability to get the ball to first base in a hurry. Strike right at the top of the zone to Lucroy. Last 30 days at home, Jonathan Lucroy, 6th in Major League Baseball, hitting .421. How about the on-base plus slugging? 2nd in Major League Baseball, 1364. Pops this one up. Out around the mound, and Tyler White, the first baseman, will make the catch. That is out number 2. Now Mitch Moreland will come up.
First baseman number 18, Mitch Moreland.
Mitch, a 2-hit game yesterday, drove in a couple. Average at 253 as he steps in. He has had success against Colin McHugh, gone 5 for 12. 22 home runs for Moreland, just one off his career high that he tied last year, set originally in 2013. First pitch is inside for ball 1. One ball, no strikes. Moreland waiting. Hit hard to center field, but right at Marisnik, and that'll do it. No runs, an Odor single. He is left stranded. We've played 2. It's the Astros leading 2-0. And in this series, we have the chance to look at a couple of great shortstops in Elvis Andrus and Carlos Correa. Trip to Texas for a 3-game weekend series coming up on September 16th through the 18th. Come on out to Globe Life Park, support your Rangers on Friday, September 16th, and enjoy a post-game fireworks show. Just use the coupon code FIREWORKS to get upper level tickets for just $14 at TexasRangers.com/specials. Well, Jose Altuve turned on a pitch and rifled it right down the left field line, and third base umpire Scott Berry just stepped aside ever so slightly. The ball hit right at his feet.
He looked like a matador. That sure wasn't fouled by much.
No, it wasn't.
Wow, that is close.
Look at Scott Berry standing there saying, "Yeah, that's foul ball, I think." He was looking to see if any chalk flew up, and it didn't.
Yeah, it was foul, but nice job by the third base umpire. Main thing you have to do is get out of the way of it.
Outside. Well, no surprise to see Altuve swing at that first pitch, and George Springer does it too for the Astros. Nobody does it better than Adam Jones, though. Adam Jones and Jonathan Scope 1-2 with the Baltimore Orioles. Not only do they swing at that first pitch, they hit it often. Slowly tapped down to Beltre at third. 1 out. Well, Carlos Correa, the next hitter, coming up. Before he steps in, we're going to send it over to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. All right, John, thank you. A 1 out here in the top of the third inning. Yu Darvish now has retired the last 5 straight and 6 of the last 7. Well, that Eastern Division, as soon as you think somebody's walking away with it or making pretty good inroads, it all falls in and gets bunched back up. Boston and Toronto even 2 games ahead of Baltimore. Carlos Correa hit a fly ball to left his first time to the plate. Breaking ball just off the outer edge. 2-0. Astros had 2 runs on 3 hits and a walk in the first inning, and 2 walks, I should say, in that first inning. And since then, nothing doing against Darvish. Here's that 2-seam fastball you've heard Yu Darvish talk about that he's throwing more and having good success with. It's also a pitch that Carlos Correa finds himself powerless to not swing at.
Yeah, he loves the ball in. You know, the thing about Correa, we talked about it, is he's walked 65 times. That's the 9th most walks in the league. But in this series anyway, he has swung at a lot of pitches inside and off the plate.
Correa batting 4th has a count in his favor, and Yulieski Gurriel is the next hitter. Beltre has that go over to Profar. The throw not in time, but boy, that would have been a real highlight play.
Well, that would have gotten some right-hand hitters.
Yeah.
It's not going to get Correa because he runs so well, but that would have been pretty interesting. Maybe slower runner hit it. Profar, pretty nice play. Bear hands it and throws it accurately over to first base. I thought the ball was going in the stands when he let go of it.
That's going to be a base hit, a little too hot to handle for Adrian Beltre. Correa on at first. 1 out. Gurriel, who had the RBI single his first time up, pops up the first pitch. Moreland and Lucroy with room. Mitch making the call, getting Lucroy to run the other way. That's out number 2. Good job by Moreland, though, to take the play. It's easier for a first baseman coming down there than it is for a catcher to get that mask and everything off his head and locate the ball.
Yeah, really good example of the communication between the first baseman and the catcher. You could hear Mitch all the way up in the booth yelling for that ball. Lucroy's ready for it, but as soon as he hears Mitch, he peels off and lets Mitch take it.
So 2 gone. Correa stays at first. Evan Gattis went down swinging the first time that he faced Yu Darvish this afternoon. Now Darvish wants a new baseball, and he will get that from Jerry Lane. Gattis with the average right at 250. That's the first time up, though. He has been swinging the bat as well as anybody in a Houston uniform. And a 337 hitter since the last day of July. Strike 1. 29 games over that span. Gattis has had an on-base percentage of just short of 400, 398. He has had 6 home runs, driven in 16 runs. Darvish keeping Correa honest over there at first. Now Darvish ready to go. Outside corner. A little pinpoint action there. 0-2.
I think he was finally getting warmed up. Popped that one up in the upper 90s.
And again, this large crowd getting the support for Yu Darvish going with the U's. 0-2 pitch. Gets away from Lucroy, so down to second goes Carlos Correa. Wild pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. Not much that Lucroy can do about that. That fastball.
Coming 97 miles an hour.
Darvish is trying to overthrow a little bit, hung on to it too long. Lucroy now with a series of signs with Correa at second base. Got him on the fist. That ball coming right back toward us on the roof of the press box back here. Runners in scoring position this year. Evan Gattis getting exactly what he does in other situations. 250. But he has 7 of his 23 home runs with runners in scoring position, and better than half of his RBI. Correa getting his lead from second. Rangers in a shift to the left. Rougned Odor, the closest Ranger defender to second base. Another 1-2 pitch from Darvish. Count evens to Gattis. Darvish pitch count now will be up to 60 with this next offering. Better than half those in the first inning today. Stepping back, and Jonathan Lucroy said, we'll recycle those. Now the 2-2 coming. Breaking ball, called strike 3, and Gattis knew it. Couldn't pull the trigger, and he has gone on strikes. 1 left aboard, and after 2.5, Astros 2, Rangers nothing on Ice Cream Sunday at Globe Life Park. Support your Rangers. They take on the Los Angeles Angels that night. Visit TexasRangers.com/specials to secure your $10 Tuesday tickets for September 20th. Well, Astros leading the Rangers 2-0 here in the bottom of the third inning. Rangers only with one base runner in the first 7 hitters, and Carlos Gomez will start things off. He is number 8 in the order. Colin McHugh, first pitch with the breaking ball, misses for ball 1. Gomez hitting .212 as a Ranger, .210 overall. He's had 2 of his 7 home runs in a Texas uniform, despite only being here since the 20th of August. Came up to begin this homestand. McHugh's 1-1 pitch. Those home runs that we talked about, though, with Carlos Gomez, part of that 4-game hitting streak that he has. The grand slam home run that he had against Seattle. Also hit a 3-run home run in the first swing he took in a Ranger uniform. Goes after the breaking ball with no success here, and McHugh has his 3rd strikeout.
We're talking about McHugh coming into this ball game, the way the Rangers have been swinging the bats, mixing up his fastball curveball combination, and keeping the curveball down will be very important for him. And he's done so far through 9 hitters, pretty good job of that.
Yep, sure has.
One of the few pitches he's hung was ripped into right field for the only Ranger hit by Rougned Odor. But he's had 3 strikeouts, and he has, for the most part, kept that curveball down.
And he drops one right at the bottom of the strike zone to Jurickson Profar. Profar getting the start today at shortstop, giving Elvis the day off. A .259 average for Jurickson. 5 home runs, 18 driven in. Profar trying to get it going again offensively. It's been a bit of a struggle for him in the last 6-8 weeks. This is just his 2nd start in the last 13 games. 1-2. Opposing starting pitchers lasted less than 6 innings in each of the last 7 games. So Colin McHugh, I'm sure, aware of that fact, and he is doing his best to snap that trend. 2-2 to Profar. Jurickson still hitting over 300 here at home, 307 this year. That compares to just 212 on the road. And he eyeballs that off the plate inside. It's a full count. So Profar, the number 9 hitter, trying to get aboard with 1 out. Omar Mazara waiting in that on-deck circle. There's the breakdown we were just talking about. Profar with 4 of his 5 home runs in this park. 3-2 pitch. Hit the other way, the vacated left side of the infield. And Profar has that 1-out single.
Well, that's another hanging curveball, not necessarily where you would expect to hit a hanging curveball necessarily, but effectively located to the left side of the infield. Just waited on it and sliced it into left field.
Well, the 2nd Ranger hit of the afternoon. Both of them have been 1-out singles. Odor had the first one, now Profar. And here's Nomar Mazara for his 2nd at bat. Mazara went down swinging at that McHugh curveball in the 1st inning. Double play ground ball. Bregman goes to Correa, and that pulled him way out toward the outfield side of 2nd. So that's all they will get. Just the force removing Profar at 2nd base.
Well, Bregman obviously was a college shortstop, played shortstop for the most part in the minor leagues. Not sure how much he played 2nd base in the minor leagues, but he got called up to the big leagues and immediately switched to 3rd base. And now with Altuve getting a half a day off as the DH, he's playing 2nd base, which I'm sure is a relatively new spot for him. Kind of step to the left and try to throw to the right, wasn't able to do it accurately.
2 outs now. Mazara at first, and Ian Desmond takes ball 1. Desmond had a ground ball to short back in the 1st inning. He ends Rangers average currently at 290. Still among the league leaders in multi-hit games. He is tied for third with 49 of them this year. Mookie Betts still the league leader in that. Desmond 8th in the American League in hits with 156. And McHugh able to drop that curve in to even the count. Very pleasant late summer afternoon out here at Globe Life Park. Big crowd on hand. Yeah, it's September baseball, folks. It's time. Rangers making their charge toward the Western Division title and toward the playoffs. In the air to center field. Marisnik almost dead in his tracks. And that'll do it for the Rangers. No runs a hit. They leave a man after 3. Astros leading the Rangers 2-0. And now let's go to Rick Runnert in our Rooms to Go lounge.
Series between the Rangers and the Astros. Texas trailing Houston by a score of 2-0 here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. And recently, Derek Holland had the Sunshine Kids out here at the ballpark, and always a fun day when Derek gets to visit with the kids.
To be with the Sunshine Kids, this is huge. These are kids that don't get to do the things that I'm getting to do, and they put the smile on my face. But yet I find out that I'm putting a smile on their face. So it's all about giving back, going back and forth with each other. We're motivating each other, continuing to push each other through these tough times.
And Derek always doing great things in our community. Not sure that anyone does as much in the community, especially with children, than Derek Holland, guys.
All right, Emily, you saw Colby Rasmus spank that first pitch that he saw from Yu Darvish into right field to lead off the 4th inning for the Astros. The 5th base hit of the afternoon puts Rasmus at first. Here's Tyler White.
I think I've said this a couple of times on the air about Derek. Had the opportunity a couple of times to be on a Ranger caravan in the offseason when we visited children's hospitals, once with Derek and Mitch Moreland, and both of those guys were just unbelievably tender and warm with the kids. They had a great rapport with them. So I would echo what Emily says about Derek. I've seen that firsthand.
Yeah, and that visit we always make to the children's hospitals around Christmas time, both in Fort Worth and in Dallas.
Yeah.
Those two, you're right, Tom. They really, the kids take to them, and it's like having one of their own in their midst.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to know exactly how to act when you visit.
Sure.
But to both of those guys, it just comes naturally. If I were a kid in the hospital, those were the two guys that I'd like to see most.
Well, Darvish now to Tyler White. He's fallen behind 3-0. White had a ground ball to second that ended the first inning. Matter of fact, it was a big out in the first because the bases were loaded at that juncture. And Darvish able to get White to finish things off. comes back in to make it 3-1. Tyler White hitting 8th in the order. Jake Marisnick, the center fielder, will follow. Darvish checks Rasmus, who has a small lead at first. 3-1 pitch is popped up. Moreland over right at the railing, but that's back in the second row over the Ranger dugout. Well, it fills the count now to White. Darvish has done a good job of coming back from 3-0 to at least get the count full. "66 pitches for the Ranger right-hander, 41 strikes, 25 balls this afternoon. Didn't start out with his best command and didn't appear to start out with his best fastball, at least in his mind. Didn't throw it a whole lot early. And he's gone back to it now. Well, that's so much a part of the relationship you have with the catcher, is what to do when you feel like you don't have that good fastball, how the catcher works with you to kind of work around that and give you an opportunity to get yourself back in the right direction. There goes Rasmus. The pitch is low for ball 4. That puts 2 on now with nobody out. Marisnick coming up.
Well, the first fastball of the game that you threw was 91 miles an hour, and then in the first inning and part of the second inning, it looked like when he tried to reach back for a little extra, it was around 94, which is great. But then last inning, to Evan Gattis, or I guess that was third inning. To Evan Gattis, when he reached back, it was 97 miles an hour. So he either was saving a little bit or it wasn't quite there in the first inning, but velocity wise anyway, it was definitely there in the third inning. You ever go that way, Buzz? You're trying to throw hard early in the game and it's not there, and you get a little more life on your fastball as the game goes on?
I had nothing a lot of times, but I would never be able to go up to 96. I don't care how good.
Well, could you ever go from 88 to 92 or whatever it might have been that given day?
The play is going to be ruled foul because it came up and hit Marisnick. Jonathan Lucroy came out, did a very good job of bouncing on that ball and making the play to third, but third base umpire Scott Berry immediately had his hands up in the air and said, no, that ball came up and hit Marisnick, so it's a foul ball. Marisnick still in the batter's box. There you can see where it came up, hit the bat, and good job by Scott Berry. Unfortunate for the Rangers, because they had an opportunity to get the force at third.
If this was golf, there'd be some kind of penalty for that, wouldn't there?
2-shot penalty. That's a double click.
That'd be strike 2, strike 3. You're out.
There's the umpiring crew with the crew chief Jerry Lane calling the balls and strikes.
You ever do that on a chip shot?
Oh yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. Marisnick not bunting this time. He laces one down the left field line. That is into the corner for extra bases. Rasmus scores. Being stopped at third is Tyler White. And Jake Marisnick, who I'm sure that you Darvish figured was going to bunt again, took advantage, got a fastball up and drilled it for an RBI double. It's 3-0 Houston.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. You got a bunt, I'll throw you a strike. Maybe we can get the force out at third base. But instead, well, it was a cut fastball maybe, but right down the center of the plate. There's Beltre charging. First baseman Mitch Moreland's charging. Only Marisnick was not bunting. He got the hanging cut fastball, it looked like, and drilled it.
So now second and third with a run in. 3-0 Houston. And the top of the order with George Springer. Springer trying to move that ball to the right side. Fouls it back. Springer, a home run leading off the ball game this afternoon. His 26th of the year. Last time up, Darvish struck him out, and this would be a good time to strike him out again. The 0-1. Now 0-2, and Darvish puts himself in a position to get the punch out. The man on third, less than 2 out. You need that strikeout, pop up, something very soft. Only 38% of the time for George Springer as he got that runner in from third with less than 2 out. That's well below the major league average of 50%. He laces this one to the left field, though. He gets the job done. Tyler White scores. Maristic to third. RBI single by Springer on an 0-2 pitch. It is 4-0 Houston. Now, Yu Darvish, command has gotten to him in this inning. He has not been able to locate or execute the pitches that he wanted to. You saw that target set away, and instead he missed by 3/4 of the plate and up a little bit.
Just one of those games so far for you. As you mentioned, I think in the pregame show, how many quality starts you had and how well he's been. We both talked about how well he's been pitching since the All-Star break, and that's been the case so far. In this game, it's been a little bit of a struggle for him. Have not seen that since he came back from the disabled list. Nick Martinez tossing a few down in the bullpen, getting ready.
Yeah, he will not have a quality start today since he's given up 4 runs, 4 earned runs. But he still can put the Rangers in a position to win if he puts the clamps on the Astros right here. Got runners at first and third, nobody out. 2 runs across here in the 4th inning. Alex Bregman, who is 1 for 2, will step to the plate. Bregman had an infield single in the 1st inning. Last time up, tapped out to third. Got Maristic down at third, George Springer at first. That ball gets away from Lucroy, so down to second goes Springer. That removes the opportunity for a double play. The wheels coming off for Yu Darvish command-wise. Very rarely do you see Darvish miss this badly. I would imagine, his 2nd wild pitch of the game, considering Lucroy was set up completely on the other side of the plate. 2 balls, no strikes. Now, Darvish walked a couple in the 1st inning, but then went through the 2nd and 3rd unscathed as far as the walk was concerned. He walked Tyler White in this inning after the leadoff single. Falling behind Alex Bregman now, 2-0. Foul ball makes it 2-1. Darvish for the high set. And misses low and away. 3 balls and a strike. Bregman hitting second. Jose Altuve is looming in that on-deck circle. This is the first time all year that Yu Darvish has given up 4 earned runs in an outing. He still has no one out here in this 4th inning. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. That's going to get the 5th run home. Profar unloads in a hurry, and they get the tag as Moreland comes off the bag and tags Bregman going by. Now the out is made at first, but the run is home. It is 5-0 Astros.
Jurickson knew the runner Bregman got down the line pretty well, so he can't waste any time. He gets rid of it quickly. Strong throw, a little bit off the mark, but with a little help from Mitch, that play is completed.
A 1 gone on the play. George Springer stayed at second base. Now here's Altuve, who has walked and grounded to third. First pitch breaking ball, 0-1. Well, the Astros this afternoon, 5 runs on 7 hits. Also mixed in 3 walks. In the air to center field. Desmond retreated after picking up the flight of the ball halfway back on the warning track. That is out number 2. Altuve, a long fly ball to center. Next will be Carlos Correa. Darvish, see, a little bit disgusted with himself after that when he was going to go in. Maybe say something to Lucroy and maybe just.
I think he's going to back up somewhere. He thought that was going off the wall or over the fence.
I would imagine that had that sound to him that he didn't want to hear.
It must have. Finally took a little peek at it and saw Ian underneath the ball and sighed a little bit of relief.
2 away. Here's Correa, who's 1 for 2 with an infield single. Correa, 275 average as he stands in. Right off the end of the bat, a cue shot down to Moreland. He will take it to the bag, and that's it. But the Astros strike for 3 runs on 3 hits and lead 1 after 3.5. Astros leading 5-0. Hot dog night is coming up on Wednesday, September 21st. Angels are in town to play your Rangers that night. Come on out to Globe Life Park early. Enjoy all the hot dogs you can eat for just $1 each. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or you can call 972-RANGERS. Well, the Rangers now in a 5-0 hole as they come to bat in the 4th inning. Carlos Beltran starting things off. He'll be followed by Adrian Beltre and Rougned Odor. Rangers just 2 singles this afternoon. Beltran put down swinging against McHugh in the 1st inning. 1 ball and 1 strike. Carlos, the average, as you can see, at 295. And an off-speed pitch to work with and foul tipped it. 1-2. Beltran another 25 home run season at 26 at the moment. That's his 8th. That'll be his great career. Two balls, 2 strikes. 6th among active players with those 8 25 home run games. 316 average with 2 strikes. And he is not a sure out when he gets down in the count like that. Still 2-2. And Beltran, who played for the Astros, played 90 games for him in 2004, went to the postseason that year and had a great postseason. 8 home runs and 22 runs scored. Again, tap foul at home plate.
Another good curveball right where he wants to throw it. His curveball breaks so much, and most of it is straight down, that it can look and be in the strike zone and then end up almost in the dirt. And you can see how much he likes that curveball. He's thrown 52% of them today. Enough fastballs to keep the hitter honest, but basically what he's saying is, if we win this game, it's going to be because of my curveball.
You know, we talk about guys pitching backwards, and I think you would have to say Colin McHugh, as far as tradition goes, would be a guy that pitches backwards most of the time, because quite honestly, his best pitch is his curveball.
Yeah.
So he pitches with that, as most guys pitch with their fastball.
Yeah.
Full count. And another tapper foul. Beltran trying to get a board to start this fourth inning. Adrian Beltre will be next. Colin McHugh with another 3-2 pitch. That ball's ripped to right field and deep. Springer going back at the track, and he hauls it in right in front of the 377 marker.
If it stays in the ballpark, Springer's got a great chance to run it down. And we've seen that for the last couple of years. And pretty much seen the same thing with Marisnik, too, the center fielder. And pitch right down the middle of the plate. And it looked like Carlos hit that ball a little bit better than where it ended up.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't a hard hit ball, but off the bat, it looked like it wouldn't have any problem getting into the bullpen.
No, a long out is what it turned out to be. And Adrian Beltre takes ball one. Beltre had a ground ball to second. A little misleading because Bregman, the second baseman, is playing over in the shortstop spot in the overshift. Bregman, the closest to second base. Carlos Correa, the shortstop, about midway between second and third. And Gurriel, the third baseman, back behind the bag. 2 balls and a strike. Adrian on a streak of 9 games in which he's hit .344 during this homestand. He's also scored a run in 9 straight games. That's the best that he has ever done in that regard in his career. Sneaking up on the club record, which is 11 straight ball games with a run scored. Ian Kinsler, the latest to do that. Michael Young, the first to do it. 3-2. Adrian on his way to first, and Jerry Lane said, not so fast. But Beltre trying to get aboard with one out here in the fourth for Rougned Odor. We'll go back to the first at bat for Adrian Beltre, leading off the second inning. Got a corkscrew swing. Then he went down to that one knee, and falling all over the place, and then hit the ball pretty sharply on a fastball. The odd-looking swings were on the curveball, but he finally got a fastball and stayed on his feet, hit it pretty well. Fouls that one off to the right. You just never know what you're going to get with Adrian Beltre. It's going to be something that you may not have seen before. That's pretty standard right there, that bat flip after a foul ball.
Gonna flip the baton in front of the marching band.
Now McHugh again with a full count pitch. Ball 4. Beltre hustling down to first as Gaddis has to go to the backstop to retrieve. No, Rangers have had 3 base runners. They've all been aboard after 1 out in an inning. They have not been able to get another on base. See if they can go against that trend here in this fourth inning. Rougned Odor had the first Ranger hit. That was a 1-out single in the second. Odor now a 5-game hitting streak that's seen him hit right at 500. He is 10 for 20. Strike 1. Rougned would be our TXU Energy Power player to watch today. 28 home runs this year. That's the 3rd most among Major League second basemen. Brian Dozier with 31. Dozier's hit 20 in the second half. for the Twins. And Robinson Cano, who the Rangers will see starting tomorrow. Hope all of you, by the way, are enjoying your Labor Day weekend. Have a very safe and happy Labor Day. Rangers will play tomorrow afternoon on Labor Day in Seattle. Start of the 4-game series with the Mariners. The 1-1 pitch. High in the air to right field. Springer's not going to catch this one. Way back. Goodbye. Number 29 for Odor. 5-2 Houston.
Well, he's hit a bunch of home runs in this homestand, and several of them have been the same pitch. If they're going to hang the breaking ball, they're better off hanging it on the inside part of the plate and not letting him reach and yanking that ball, because he's got the power that it doesn't matter if it's outside. He can still hit it 400 feet to right field. First time up, he hit the same pitch, a bullet into right field for a base hit. And this time, it looked like a hanger, outside part of the plate, maybe a little bit outside. He got it up in the air, and it went out of the ballpark for a home run. And pretty much the exact same pitch that he hit for a base hit, a hanging curveball on the outside corner.
Now Lucroy skies one to right. This playable for Springer out there, and he makes the catch for out number 2.
And the ball he hit for his second home run in the upper deck a few games ago, I believe, was almost that exact same pitch. So that's a bad place to hang one to Rudman.
Rudman Odor, 29 home runs now. 78 RBI for the Rangers second baseman. It's Moreland on that breaking ball. 0-1. Moreland lined to center field. That was the last out of the second inning. And that hit him.
That's the same thing happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Breaking ball down and in, never moved an inch. He loved watching Brandon Guyer play when he was in town with the Indians. He didn't move on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball that hit him in the elbow. But he's definitely not going to move on this pitch. Just take it off the ankle and go to first base on the slow curveball.
Yeah, yesterday's got him on the big toe. I don't think he would have taken one in the same place. But hey, that's.
He didn't know where that thing was going to hit.
He just stood there and took it. Well, Moreland aboard. Inning stays alive now. Carlos Gomez. 1 ball and no strikes. Gomez put down swinging the first time that he faced McHugh. The Rangers putting a little something together here in the 4th inning. Second time through the order for Colin McHugh.
Well, they made him pay for his first walk. With 1 out, he walked Beltre.
This is from yesterday with Mitch Moreland against Joe Musgrove. And here it is today.
You want to keep throwing them there, go ahead. But I'm not swinging at him, and I'm going to first base, so good for you.
He's got to change shoes. That apparently has a bullseye on it.
He might have a metal lining on the inside of that shoe.
He could.
Umpires have shoes like that.
Outside, yeah.
Reinforced metal to keep them protected from foul balls.
Well, Carlos Gomez now ahead of the count 3-0, trying to extend this 4th inning. Richardson Profar in the on-deck circle. McHugh back to the plate. Ball 4.
3 walks in the inning.
A walk, a home run, a fly out, a hit by pitch, and a walk. Rangers have the tying run or tying man coming to home plate. Brent Strom, the pitching coach for the Astros, going to walk out and see if he can't get Colin McHugh back into the strike zone.
Yeah, he walked Beltre, but after the home run, it certainly appears that he's being a little overly cautious with the hitters that follow after giving up that home run in what's still a close ball game.
That road ERA, as you can see, Colin McHugh does not have good memories of the road this year, a 5.78. earned run average. Now Profar steps in. Runners at first and second, 2 away. Profar slapped a single to left field his first time up there. Jurickson with that base hit now, back up over 260. He's 262. Got Moreland at second, Gomez at first. Ball 1. Now, Jurickson hasn't had a home run in a while. Might be a good time to see if he can hit one of those hangers. McHugh okays the sign. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jurickson Profar now 3 out of 7 on this homestand. Mentioned Jurickson, a long drought, about a 2-month drought. Back 58 ball games, he's hit .213. Curveball, and that dipped in. 1-2. A.J. Hinch, the Astros skipper, playing with a little bit of a handicap in that Dallas Keuchel, who was scheduled to pitch in this series, had to be pushed back due to fatigue. 2-2 now. Profar as a left-handed hitter, better this year than from the right side by about 50 points. McHugh's 2-2 pitch. In the dirt, and the count has gone full. Profar 279 left-handed prior to today, 209 as a right-handed hitter. Those numbers for you. He's gotten the count full, and as the number 9 hitter, he is trying to get aboard to extend this 4th inning. Omar Mazara is waiting. So both Moreland and Gomez will be off and moving with the 3-2 pitch. McHugh set a check of him. They're going. Payoff pitch, foul back. Moreland and Gomez back to second and first, respectively. New baseball for Colin McHugh. Jurickson Profar digging back in the batter's box. Runners again on the move. 3-2 pitch. Grounded to Bergman at second. He throws out Jurickson Profar. That'll do it. Rangers get 2 runs on 1 hit. They leave 2. Rougned Odor with the 2-run blast. 5-2 Astros after 4. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer today during the final days of the Ford Freedom Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Well, Yu Darvish this afternoon has come to a close. He leaves trailing 5-2. Nick Martinez, the 26-year-old from Miami, Florida, and Fordham University, has come out to make his 9th appearance of the year. Last time we saw Nick was back on the 20th of August. This is his 4th stint with the Rangers, having been called up at the start of September. One pitch, and he gets Ulieski Gurriel to ground to Jurickson Profar. Now our Kubota Power Stats this afternoon. Nick Martinez, 11 career relief appearances, and Nick has put in a fine 1.37 ERA, just 3 earned runs in 19 2/3. Here's Gaddis, off speed for strike 1. Gaddis today has struck out both times. Those were both obviously against Yu Darvish. And he takes a big curveball for strike 2. Nick Martinez went down to AAA Round Rock and primarily started down there. Stayed stretched out. Still 0-2. Right-hander back to Gaddis. Well to center field. Going back is Desmond. He is at the wall. That ball is gone. Evan Gaddis, his 2nd home run of the series, his 24th of the year, and the Astros lead it 6-2.
They got ahead with 2 slow curveballs, and Gaddis looked like he inside out at a pitch on the inside corner, a fastball, and shows how strong he is. The strikeout victim his first couple of times up. Now it's a breaking ball. Sorry, thought it was fastball. Breaking ball down and in, and he got underneath it and launched it. Gaddis been swinging the bat pretty well. 35 for 104. He's hitting about 335 in his last 100+ at bats. Pretty good stretch over a fairly long period of time.
Rasmus trying to bunt as you get a look at Gaddis driving that ball out onto Greens Hill in dead center. That is the 8th home run given up by Nick Martinez this year in 28 innings of work. 1 ball and 1 strike to Rasmus. One for one today, a walk back in the 1st. Singleton scored in the 4th inning. Colby Rasmus taking ball 2 from Nick Martinez. Nick has had 5 starts with the Rangers this year. Those 5 starts, he went 0-2. Worked just 23 2/3 innings. A 7.61 ERA as a starter this year. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Trying to bunt again and bunts into a strikeout.
Thank you very much.
Colby Rasmus, I have no idea what he was thinking.
He was thinking he probably was going to swing and miss anyway, so he might as well go for a base hit.
Well, he did that. If you were a manager, would this leave you scratching your head a little bit?
Well, you know, he's trying to get a little something going, and it wasn't like he almost squared around to sacrifice bunt. He probably felt pretty confident that he could get the bunt down. Obviously, it didn't work out too well for him, so you don't see that very often, a position player bunting with 2 strikes for a base hit. I can't remember the last time I saw it. Might remember a position player, maybe Elvis or someone like that, on a sacrifice bunt, trying to bunt with 2 strikes. And I'm sure Rasmus said to himself, that's pretty much what I'm doing here, is sacrifice bunting, because I don't need a great bunt. I just want to get the ball down there toward third base and I'll get a base hit. I think as a hitter, when you go to bunt like that, that might be your idea, but then as soon as you go to bunt, you feel like, well, I got to get it somewhat close to the line so the pitcher doesn't get it. And before you know it, you fouled it off.
2-1 pitch to Tyler White. Deep into the hole. Profar able to set and throw. Big arm got him.
Yeah, any doubt about the health of his arm, that ought to answer it right there.
That should do it. Now Gaddis' home run gets the Astros on the board. Now halfway through the ball game, 6-2 Houston. On the Rangers, the last Saturday home game of the season, the first 15,000 fans coming into the ballpark on Saturday, October 1st, receive a Colby Lewis bobblehead. That's courtesy of Kroger. Come on out and support your Rangers. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS. Top of the Ranger order here in the 5th inning. It's a 6-2 Houston lead, and Nomar Mazara, who is 0 for 2, takes strike 1. Mazara with a strikeout and a fielder's choice ground ball today. 0-2 very quickly. Nomar a 274 average. Mazara hitting better when the Rangers are trailing, when he's trying to get aboard to spark a comeback. And he's done it again. Base hit to center field. He got an off-speed pitch that stayed up for him. And the Rangers have their leadoff man aboard. And as Ian Desmond comes up, let's go check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Buzz, so many guys on this team familiar with the intensity that comes with the month of September, chasing a division title, a playoff race, but guys like Nomar Mazara, this is their first time, and he talked to me earlier this week about just how excited he is to be a part of this process.
Go out there and don't try to do too much, you know, just try to play the game, what they ask me to do, you know. And like I said before, just try to have fun, don't put too much pressure on myself, and just take what they give me.
And that's one of the main focuses, he said, and you saw him in that first game of this series. He was playing perhaps a little bit tight and had to remind himself to just kind of loosen up and, like you said, take what the game gives him.
Well, Ian Desmond rifling it into the right field corner. Mazara being waved around third. Desmond stops at second. Mazara scores an RBI double for Ian Desmond. It's a 6-3 Astro lead, and here come the Rangers.
You know, if you weren't watching the hitter, but you knew it was a right-hand hitter, and you saw the speed and the trajectory of that ball, you'd know it was Desmond. He hits the ball hard all over the field, especially like that. High pitch right down the line, kind of gets on top of it, just slashed it into the corner. The Rangers trying to keep this a ball game.
Yeah, they pulled back to within 3 once again. And Desmond in scoring position for Carlos Beltran. A strike at the knees. Beltran 0 for 2, a strikeout. And last time up, he flied out right to the warning track, to the wall, as a matter of fact, right in front of the Ranger bullpen in right center field. One and one. Well, McHugh has been known to give up a few home runs. Lately, he's been pretty good about it, but he gave up up 9 in August. That ball's hit hard, and it's a fair ball into the corner. Desmond will score. Beltran cruising into second. Back-to-back RBI doubles. A 6-4 Houston lead.
Now, he started knocking on the door in the 4th inning. There was 1 hard hit ball, the home run, and 3 walks. This inning, though, they're starting to zero in. 3rd time around has been the charm for the Ranger hitters. Mazzara, a solid hit. Desmond ripped a double. And now Carlos gets a pitch on the inside part of the plate, and he rips a double. 3 straight well-hit balls this inning.
Well, Beltran now in scoring position. Still nobody out. And we're going to get another visit from the pitching coach, Brent Strom. Beltran had an RBI double his last at bat yesterday. Drove in 2 in that ball game. And today he has an RBI double here in the 5th, driving home 1. Beltran out there at second base, having a chat with the middle infielders, Correa and Bregman. So, message has been delivered by Brent Strom, the pitching coach. Still nobody out. 3 consecutive hits, a single followed by back-to-back doubles. Here's Beltran, who walked and scored his last time up. He is 0 for 1 today. This crowd coming alive here in the 5th inning. 1 ball and no strikes. Remember, he told you that the opponent's starting pitchers have not lasted more than 6 innings in each of the last 7 ball games. And now McHugh wants to have a chat with Evan Gattis, saying, how are we going to get me through this inning and next inning? Break that streak. Evan Gattis said, I don't know, you're on your own.
Yeah. Let's focus on this inning. Next inning may be a little bit too far down the road.
Well, Beltran in scoring position. That is out of play. It looked like Adrian was trying to take that ball the other way. It looks like the Ranger hitters have made the adjustment now on McHugh and trying to do what he is giving them. That's take the ball the other way for the right-handed hitters.
Well, he's thrown so many curveballs. They've seen it so many times every at bat that it has to be a little bit more comfortable right now.
That'll get Beltran over to third. Beltran grounds out to Bregman. What a good job to advance Beltran to third with 1 out for Rougned Odor.
Yeah, if you're going to make it out, that's exactly how you want to make it. And you could tell that Adrian was making an effort to do exactly that.
Now, this has been problematic for McHugh before. 3rd time through the lineup. The worst batting average, the best batting average against him at .358 for the opposition. No. Odor, who had the 2-run home run his last time up, will step in. A 2-run game here. Odor represents the tying run at home plate. Hard hit. That is into right field. A base hit. Beltran scores. Odor delivers. He's 3 for 3. It's a 6-5 Houston lead. And that is going to do it for Colin McHugh.
I'd like to see someone hit 3 balls any harder than Odor has hit 3 balls today. He hit that ball just about with the same exit velocity as he did the single in the second inning. The home run got up in the air a little bit, but that's 3 straight ropes for Rougned, 3 for 3. And it's a pitch out over the plate. That pitch had no chance of getting past him.
So, pitching change underway. Chris Davinsky coming in. We'll tell you about him when we come back. It's a 1-run ball game. Park being treated to another Ranger comeback. Still hasn't been fulfilled, but it's working toward that goal. Pitching change brings in Chris Davinsky to appear in his 40th ball game. Davinsky 2-4, a 2.19 ERA. The league just hitting 2.07 against the rookie right-hander. He leads All-American League relievers in fewest inherited runners allowed to score. He has stranded 22 of the 25 he has inherited. And he inherits Rougned Odor at first base here, facing Jonathan Lucroy.
Davinsky has been a very versatile and valuable member of the staff for the Astros. He's had 5 starts. He pitches in a lot of games like this, where they just have to have someone come in before the end of the game, stop the bleeding, and maybe pitch multiple innings. He's perfect for that role.
Rougned Odor testing the limits of his lead. Step and a dive back. Odor carrying the tying run at first base here in the 5th inning. Lucroy at the plate, 0 for 2, a pop out and a fly to right. And just as close that time as Odor, just able to get back under the tag by Tyler White. Held up just a moment as A.J. Hinch wanted to give his video guys a chance to take a look at that play at first. He said, "Go ahead. We're not going to have you send that back to replay command center." 0-1 is the count to Lucroy. Now 0-2. Davinsky a slider and a good cut fastball. Jonathan back into the batter's box. Infield plays him a couple of steps around to the left. 1-2. Good look at the Houston alignment. You see Colby Rasmussen left way off that line. He's bunching toward left center field. And Springer's customary shallow play in right. And straight away with Marisnik straight up the diamond. Didn't really mean to. Tyler White making a dive for it. Came up a little short. Now with Odor at first base, well, you remember we talked about Rougned in the open, this homestand. How about these numbers now? They are improved this afternoon with 3 more hits. 15 for 40, 6 home runs, 3 doubles, 17 runs driven in. This is the 10th game of the homestand. 9 runs scored. He's got a chance to add on to that here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Another foul ball to the right. Well, the Rangers trying to extend their winning streak. They have put 7 straight in the win column. 1 more would be a season high for them. This is the best streak going right now in Major League Baseball. This one popped up by Lucroy. Bregman, the second baseman, makes the catch for out number 2. And before Mitch Moreland steps in, we're going to send it over to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. All right, John, thank you. 2 out, Mitch steps in. Moreland was hit by a pitch from Colin McHugh last time up. He is 0 for 1 officially today. In the dirt, going to second base is Odor. He got a great jump on that ball. Gaddis did everything he could to keep it close to home, but couldn't get to it quickly enough. So Rougned in scoring position now. Davinsky really missing his mark by a lot there. He just spiked that fastball right into the ground. 1-0 to Moreland. Charging Gurriel, off balance throw. Moreland out by a step. The Rangers finished in the 5th, but they come up with 3 runs on 4 hits and leave 1. We're going to the 6th inning. It's now the Astros 6-5 over the Rangers. Baseball Foundation on Monday, September 19th, for A Night to Just Keep Living, featuring Matthew McConaughey. Proceeds from the event will directly benefit the Texas Ranger Baseball Foundation Just Keep Living programs in North Texas. Limited seating is available. Just visit texasrangers.com/community and reserve your seat today. Now the Rangers active the last couple of innings. They have put 5 runs on the board, now trail the Astros 6-5. Nick Martinez facing Jake Marisnik to start off the 6th inning. And Marisnik lost one into shallow right for Nomar Mazara. That is out number 1. Nick, who gave up the solo home run to Evan Gattis in the 5th inning, gets the first out here in the 6th. Now we'll face George Springer. Springer has homered and singled. He has driven in a couple of runs today. 2 for 3. Currently batting at .257. On base plus slugging. Very impressive for the young outfielder. .819. Anything over 770 is considered extremely good. Nick's 0-1 pitch. Astros 6 runs on 8 hits this afternoon. The Rangers 5 runs on 7 hits. Neither club has committed a defensive miscue. 2 balls and a strike to Springer. Astros coming into play today, 13th in the American League batting average wise, .247. But they were right in the middle of the pack with a .321 on base percentage. A.J. Hinch's club 8th, and they were 9th in the league in scoring, 618 runs. .3-1 pitch. Springer aboard for the 3rd time today. That 1-out walk brings up Alex Bregman.
Second baseman Alex Bregman.
Bregman 1 for 3. He had an RBI last time that he came to the plate. That was an RBI ground out in the 4th inning. Right center field, that is trouble. Mazara over to make the play, 1 hop. And on around to 3rd goes Springer. Now Bregman now puts runners on the corners for Jose Altuve. Martinez getting that pitch up and out over the plate for Alex Bregman. He's a pretty good fastball hitter, we found out.
That's like a hanging slider, hanging cut fastball. That's just not the location Nick was aiming for right there, I don't think. We'll turn a double play right here.
Altuve coming to the plate 0 for 2 today. He has walked, grounded out, and flied out. Tony Barnett starting to loosen quickly in the Ranger bullpen. It's just a 1-run game, so Jeff Bannister going to use the bullets available. Profar, a stop to Odor, who drops the ball. Everybody's safe. The run is home. It is a 7-5 Astro lead, and it could have been an inning-ending double play.
Boy, it sure could have. It was a smash by Altuve, and a nice stop by Profar. The throw was a little bit low, and I'm sure Rugnet's thinking, with Altuve running, I've got to get this and get rid of it quickly. And they just weren't able to accomplish it. If they were able to, it would have been some kind of double play. Just weren't quite able to do it. Nice play on the dive. Throw, actually, it's a good throw.
Yep.
I thought it was a little lower than that. It's about belt high. Roogie just dropped it in his haste to turn the double play. Beautiful play by Profar.
Sure was.
And a perfect flip. Ball just hits off Roogie's fingers and never got into the pocket of his glove. Might have taken his eye off it a little bit.
So it's going to be an RBI on a fielder's choice ground ball from Altuve. The error to allow Bregman to get to second base, charged to Odor. If you happen to be keeping score, there will be an assist credited to Jurickson Profar. No, Astros get one of the runs back that the Rangers put up in the 5th inning. A 7-5 lead now for Houston. First and second, still one out. Carlos Correa at the plate. Correa has had an infield single, a fly ball to left, and a ground ball to first. Breaking ball finds the outer part of the plate for strike one. Correa stuck on 90 RBI. Rangers have done a pretty good job of negating his influence in this series. Has a 10-game hitting streak alive after that infield single. 0-2. Correa has already established a new Houston franchise record for RBI by a shortstop. 87 of his runs driven in have come as he's played shortstop. The old record, Miguel Tejada had 86 in 2009. And Bregman at second, trailed by Altuve at first. Martinez 0-2 pitch coming. Correa, the American League Rookie of the Year last year. He has not had a sophomore slump. Odor trying to get in behind Alex Bregman. Rangers shifted around a couple of steps, so Odor the closest Ranger to second base. There's a saw-off job. Beltre gets Correa at first after having to avoid the business into that bat. That's pretty good concentration by Beltre.
Well, I think you just got to keep throwing the ball in there to Correa as long as he's going to swing at it. Rangers have had his number. Got an infield hit in this game. 1 for 4. But trying to throw him in, you see the target, and the ball's tailing in farther than that. It's about the 5th time in this series he's swung at a pitch a foot inside.
That's that Husqvarna pitch.
That's the same swing he took the other day where he popped it up to second base.
Yeah.
That ball had a lot of movement on it, tailing farther and farther inside.
Well, with 2 outs, Yulieski Gurriel, the third baseman, is the hitter. Now, you've got first base open, and Evan Gattis follows him. So you want to decide whether you want to be aggressive with Gurriel, who you know is going to be aggressive against you. Doug Rocaille out there to talk that situation over. Gattis, although swinging the bat as well as anybody on the Astros team.
At least it gives you the opportunity, as you said, Buzz, to be careful. You don't necessarily want to face Gattis instead of Gurriel, but you don't have to give Gurriel a good pitch to hit, that's for sure.
Especially early in the count.
Yep.
Looks like he's up there trying to pick that first fastball off. And instead, throw a fastball in the inside corner. You can spot it up there, you can be in pretty good shape probably.
Yeah.
Gurriel this afternoon had an RBI single in the first. Simpson has popped out and grounded to short. The runners at second and third, 2 outs, a run across here in the 6th inning. Back behind the plate, that is out of play, and it's 0-2. This is probably one of those hitters that, as aggressive as he is, it doesn't make any difference how you try to set him up. He's still looking for something he can have a hack at.
Yeah, he's looking for the ball, trying to hit it. no matter what kind of pitch it is.
Line to Profar, a half jump and a reach, and that'll do it. Astros do get a run. On one hit, there was an error, and 2 men are left after 5.5. Now the Astros 7 and the Rangers 5 on Fox Sports Southwest. Slam Inning brought to you by Sonic. Today's jackpot is $800 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Albert Suarez from Garland will win $800. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Albert is going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Carlos Gomez trying to butt his way aboard. It's a good one, and he's going to beat it out. How about that?
That's some kind of bunt, some kind of speed, and some kind of evasive action to avoid the tag. That's an athlete right there, boy.
That's the second butt hit that we've seen him on this homestand. Both of them have been as exciting as you can possibly get them.
Pitcher would have been a lot better off if he let it roll just to see what would have happened to it. That ball, it's hard to say. I don't know what the ball would have done, but if it stayed fair, he had the same chance as he did if he picked it up.
That's very true. Oh, a leadoff bunt single. Now here's Jurickson Profar. Well, this is what speed does to you.
It looked like it was actually coming back toward the infield rather than foul.
Davinsky to work on Gomez over there at first. Jurickson Profar at the plate, 1 for 2 today. Had a single to left in the third, grounded out to second in the fourth. And the Rangers trailing by a couple, but with Gomez at first, Rangers have the tying run at home plate. 0-1 to Profar. Jurickson checking down with the third base coach Spike Owen. See what Jeff Bannister might have in mind with pretty good speed at first. Crowd getting a little anxious about the whole situation. Gomez been on twice more today. That butt base hit, also a walk. He's on the move. The pitch is a strike. The throw to second. is off of Correa's glove and into shallow center. Bregman, though, backing it up. Looked like Carlos Gomez took it off the cheek on the deflection of Carlos Correa's glove.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that he could have hit.
Yeah,
oh
did.
boy, he got something.
Yep.
He could have gotten a base. He could have gotten a knee. Whatever he got, it's caused some damage.
Kevin Harmon, the Ranger trainer, out there to take a look at him, and blood streaming down the cheek of Carlos Gomez. I think anybody who's had a cut on their face knows you bleed like a stuck pig when you get a cut up there.
Let's see if we can see where it hit. Somewhere in there looks like where it happened.
Yeah.
I think the ball missed him, but it's either the glove, the knee, the body. Oh, there it could be. His helmet came up. Yeah, there it is, right there.
Ouch.
Ball snuck by him. There's where it happened.
Carlos trot off the field.
With no one going out there, I think he's just going to get some kind of a temporary Band-Aid. Might need stitches, might not, but I'm going to put something on it that allows him to stay in the game. It looks like, otherwise it'd be there's his helmet, so he's going back.
The helmet staying in the game. I don't know about the occupant of the helmet.
Tell you what, if that helmet can score on a base hit, that'd be fun to watch.
It would be. Yeah, it would be.
Just in case.
There's not a rule that you have to leave your equipment out there if you're coming back in the game.
No, but just in case there's any doubt what base he's on, he left his base out there to market, his helmet out there to market.
Kind of like marking your ball on a green, huh?
Pretty much same thing.
Boy, and kind of lost in this is that throw by Gaddis. He's throwing out better than 50% of opposing base stealers, and that throw right on the money. Correa had every opportunity with a catch to put the tag on. Ball's there. And again, that ball, the helmet bouncing up. See it impacting the cheek of Carlos Gomez. Correa land on top of it and make sure he can't go anywhere. So a brief moment here. Now here he comes. All patched up. He's ready to go. Kevin Harmon, the cut doctor in this battle, down there on the bench, and he fixed him up. No, Gomez at second after the stolen base. Nobody out. 0-2 is the count to Profar. Jurickson back in. Carlos Gomez out there at second. Pop foul back behind home plate. Still 0-2. Now the Rangers this year have won coming from behind each of the last 2 games, and they have 42 come from behind wins this year. Jeff Anderson's ball club feeling like they're never out of a ball game. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Field down to third. Scott Berry. And he went around. And that is strike 3. The punch out. 1 gone. Nomar Mazara will be next.
Right fielder, Nomar Mazara.
Mazara, who started the 3-run 5th inning with a base hit to center field, will step in. Omar 1 for 3 today. Average at 275, right where he began play this afternoon. No balls and a strike. Gaddis wants to make sure that he and Davinsky are on the same page with the runner at second base. Sometimes you get a runner out there like Carlos Gomez, who has spent time with the Astros. You may be concerned if you're the catcher about what you see the runner doing. You're looking right out at the pitcher while you're giving the signs, and also you see what the runner's doing. Is he trying to relay location to the hitter, or is he giving him what, trying to tip pitches to him? Oh, and 1 the count. Nothing in 2.
Good changeup. That's the equalizer.
Davinsky trying to work around a leadoff bunt base hit from Carlos Gomez and then a stolen base. He got Profar on strike 3 without the runner advancing. Now he's trying to get Nomar Mazara and keep Gomez at second. Throw into the runner and out at second base. Gomez caught a circus catch by Carlos Correa. And Jeff Anderson saying, hang on here just a second. Not that I don't believe you, Harry Windelstedt, but I want to have my guys take a look at it. See if we didn't get a hand back in there first. Here's what they're taking a look at. Yeah, well, no sense reviewing that.
No. That was an accurate throw and a very nice tag.
Davinsky put that ball in a position where once Correa caught it, Carlos Gomez was sliding back into it. And he gets Mazara. 3 straight off-speed pitches. So what looked promising turns into nothing for the Rangers. No runs a hit, nobody left. On to the 7th, 7-5 Astros. Did not start off well for Yu Darvish and the Rangers. George Springer, 3rd pitch of the ball game into the bullpen of the Astros, 1-0. Rougned Odor, a 2-run blast in the 4th inning, his 29th of the year. Got the Rangers closer. And then next time up, Rougned Odor singled home a run in the 5th inning. Got the Rangers to within 1 as Beltre scored. Astros, though, have kept adding on, and they lead now 7-5. As they come to bat here in the top of the 7th. And Tony Barnett, the 32-year-old right-hander, has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over. Barnett appearing in his 51st game of the year. He's 6-3, 2.22 ERA in the league, hitting just 2.44 against Tony. Saw him here on Friday night. Worked a 2/3 of an inning, gave up an unearned run. Facing Evan Gattis, who has struck out twice and homered. Numbers 6, 7, and 8 for the Astros here in the 7th inning. Gattis' home run in the 5th inning came off of Nick Martinez. Well, Gattis looks like he is on just about every pitch.
Yeah, he's a better hitter now than we've ever seen him. You're right.
And it doesn't matter whether it's a curveball or a slider or a good fastball. Alex Claudio getting loose from the left side in the Ranger pen. 1-1 pitch to Gattis. 1-2. Astros fan with the big head of Evan Gattis out there. Gattis has provided exactly what the Astros hoped when they had gotten him from the Atlanta Braves. That was to come over, provide some power in the middle of that lineup with some experience. He's also catching more, I think, than the Astros had envisioned. This year, the Houston catching situation, injuries kind of put it into a bad situation. So Gattis pressed into duty, and he's done a very, very, very good job behind the plate. Got him swinging. Like that cut fastball that stayed up. Gattis is out number 1 in the 7th inning.
I'd have anticipated that was going to break a little more and maybe go down a little bit. Stayed up and he swung underneath it.
The Rangers just announced the size of today's crowd, 46,025, and it's the 6th sellout of 2016. Had 3,500 walk-up sales today, which is amazing.
Well, I think the excitement of the last couple of days pumped some people up to come out and watch a ball game.
I would think so.
NFL hasn't started yet.
And last chance today to see the Rangers for 10 days, 11 days. We'll be back in here after this 10-day road trip to the West Coast. Colby Rasmus takes inside. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Rasmus has been on base twice. He has walked and a base hit to right field. Rangers in an overshift on the infield with 3 infielders to the right. Profar, Odor, and Mitch Moreland. They could reach out and shake hands with each other if they wanted to. Beltre all by his lonesome over there on the third base side. Barnett's 2-1 pitch coming. Just missed the back door. 3-1. Rasmus batting 7th. He'll be followed by the first baseman, Tyler White. Right at the knees on the inside corner. 3-2. Tony Barnett this year, 14 walks and 43 strikeouts. Look at the Astros bullpen. Will Harris getting loose out there. Payoff pitch, got him swinging. Went with the curveball. Rasmus becomes the 2nd straight strikeout victim for Tony Barnett.
First baseman Tyler White.
Little off velocity wise and pretty good downward break. Rasmus not able to lay off that one. Tyler White has walked and scored in 3 trips to the plate. He's 0 for 2 officially. Hitting at .214 as you noted. 1 strike. Tyler White hitting out of that wide open stance. Tony Barnett set to go. 0-2. Breaking ball, tapped slowly to Beltran. Adrian across the diamond. Tony Barnett works a 1-2-3-7. We'll take the stretch at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Astros 7, Rangers 5. Now let's join Chuck Morgan as he introduces God Bless America.
Servicemen and women who are currently stationed at home and around the world, Exalt will now perform God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, lines white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
To baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Boston Red Sox going to play against the Athletics. They've scored 67 runs on 82 hits in 5 games against Oakland this year. The Red Sox have scored 10 or more runs in all 5 games. They have trailed in only 3 of the total 45 innings. Meanwhile, Zach Britton, the Baltimore Orioles closer, recorded the American League leading 40th save of the season last night. Against the Yankees, allowed only 1 earned run since May 1st. It covers 47 games. Well, Rangers come to bat, trailing by a couple to the Astros here in the 7th. Will Harris, our throwing right-hander, is on and faces Ian Desmond drops in that curveball for strike one. Harris, his 55th appearance of the year. He has been the closer from time to time, and saving 12 of 15 save opportunities. The opposition hitting .221 against him. 1 ball and 1 strike. Desmond an RBI double his last time to the plate. Drove in the first run of that 3-run Ranger 5th inning. Desmond trying to check his swing, but couldn't do it in time. It's 1-2. Rangers have 8 hits this afternoon. They put together 5 of those 8 hits in the 4th and 5th innings for their 5 runs. Saw a fastball and he was going to have a hack at it. It was up. He knew that. He didn't care if it was a strike or not. Will Harris leads the Astros club with 20 holes. Dealing to Ian Desmond that T-shaped hot zone for him. The entire middle of the plate from the bottom to the top and then some, and then all across the top zone. Harris with another 1-2 pitch. Call strike 3. Desmond knew it.
Nice pitch. Right in the lower section of the strike zone, down and away. Also at 93 miles an hour, a little cutting action to it.
Yep. So Harris gets the first out here in the 7th. Now Carlos Beltran. Beltran, like Desmond, had an RBI double his last time up and came around to score. 0-1. .295 average for Beltran. Outfield gives Carlos Beltran a pretty good gap in right center field. And he lines this one to left field. Rasmus will stop and play it on a hop. Beltran with his second hit of the day. He's 2 for 4. And the Rangers now have the tying run coming to the plate in the person of Adrian Beltre.
Yeah, after going 0 for 32, Carlos is now 13 for 28, so he's having a pretty nice streak right now. As tough as it was to get a base hit in that negative streak, they're looking like they're pretty easy to come by for him right now.
Now this is probably the last guy that Harris wanted to face. Adrian Beltre 3 for 5 in his career against Harris. Make that 4 for 6. He pounds one through the hole to left for a base hit. The tying runs are on with 1 out. And that man is coming to the plate, Rougned Odor.
He's hit 3 ropes in this game. 2 base hits, line shots to right field, and then a home run to right field. 3 for 3. He scored a run and knocked in 3.
Our AT&T high-speed internet replay for you. Rougned Odor, home run number 29 of the season. Kyle McHugh served it up, and Odor left the ballpark. A 1 out, runners at first and second. Odor, 2 singles and that 2-run home run. 3 RBI today. Back up over 280. Strike 1. Ball got away from Will Harris, but it rolled right to the shortstop, Correa. 2 for 6 today are the Rangers in these situations. For the season, .281 average. That's good for 3rd in the American League. Beltran and Beltre, 2nd and 1st. 1 ball and 1 strike. Odor 1 for 3 with a triple against Will Harris. Nice look from down the third baseline. Our RF camera roaming around Globe Life Park. A sellout here this afternoon, the 6th sellout of 2016. Better than 46,000 on hand. 1-1. 1-2. Beltran and Beltre both singled against Harris. 1-2 to Odor. Got him swinging, went up, and Odor foul tipped that into the glove of Evan Gattis. 2 gone.
Harris had a plan, and he executed it. Wanted to keep it up, wanted to get it in. Made a good pitch.
Yep. Both outs have been on strikeouts in this inning. Jonathan Lucroy 0 for 3 today. He has popped out twice, flied to right. Lucroy has faced Harris only 1 time in the past, and he walked in that at bat. Harris studying the signs from Evan Gattis. Chopped foul right by Spike Owen for strike 1. Yeah, Bannister's ball club. You see the injured Carlos Gomez just on the right of your screen. He had to get patched up last time he was on base. Slid into second. The helmet came off and cut him across the bridge of the nose. Kevin Harmon had to do some seamstress work. Jonathan Lucroy, not many zones that you're comfortable going to where he can't have a pretty good swing at you. Up and down in the middle of the lineup, or middle of the strike zone, across the middle of the strike zone, and down and in. Tapper by the mound, charging is Correa. The throw is in time to get Lucroy, and Jeff Bannister immediately ups in. Hang on, we want to take a look at that. Lucroy, though, is walking back to the Ranger dugout. He probably knows that he was not able to beat that out, at least his reaction. And Jeff Bannister says, we're not going to trust Jonathan on this. We're going to have you take a look at it, and I don't think it's going to take long. Looked like he just did get him. Alan Porter on the call. So Porter and the crew chief Jerry Lane will get the headsets on. They will be connected to Replay Command Center back in New York. The call on the field was out at first base. That's the call the Rangers are challenging here in the 7th inning. It is a big out, but it looked like in that replay that Rangers aren't not going to win this one. Ford bringing you to this Ranger challenge. Jerry Lane and Alan Porter with the headsets on, and they have taken them off very quickly. And out is the call at first base. I think that call was confirmed. So the Rangers come up empty, no runs on 2 hits. They lead 2 after 7. Astros leading 7-5.
Game. We got to give it to Chad. Stand up, big Chad. You come in from Kerrville last night. You're celebrating the 50th birthday. Then what happened?
I showed up. My family surprised me with the tickets. I didn't even know I was coming.
And now you're the progressive fan of the game.
That's right.
You can't beat better than that.
It's awesome. I love it.
All right, there you go. There's the bag.
Thank
Anything?
you.
Hey, your mom's even here.
My mom's right here. That's right.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else you'd like to say, Chad?
Go Rangers! Beat the Astros!
I like that spirit, Chad.
All right, Knoxie, happy birthday to Chad. Well, Tony Barnett back out to the hill. He's working to Jake Marisnick, starting off the 8th inning. And a foul ball from Marisnick makes it a ball and a strike. Marisnick, an RBI double and a run scored back in the 4th inning. Currently hitting at .218. He's the number 9 hitter in A.J. Hinch's lineup this afternoon. Now 1-2. The Rangers now about hit the Astros 10-9 this afternoon. The Rangers continue to pile up the base hits. They have not been able to string them together enough. The Astros have done just that. They have 7 runs on 9 hits to the Astros. Now Barnett with a 1-2 pitch. Check swing, just a little bit low, 2-2. Barnett worked a 1-2-3 7th inning with a couple of strikeouts. Almost got him in the belt. 3-2. Marisnick, the number 9 man leading off this 8th inning. George Springer in the top of the order is next. The 3-2. Got him swinging. Went with a breaking ball, or a cutter. And Marisnick down on strikes. Barnett now has struck out 3 of the 4 he has faced. George Springer making his way to home plate, but first we're going to send it back to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. All right, John, thank you. Springer a swinging strike one. Pujols is on fire.
He sure is. Coming into the game, he knocked in 106, so with that home run, he's knocked in 107 runs. He's right near the top of the list.
At the knees, 0-2. And 3 consecutive home runs in the first inning the other day. The Rangers will see the Angels, the second stop on the upcoming trip. 0-2 to Springer. Staying alive with that foul tip right off the end of the bat. Well, the shadows now from the light standards encroaching between home plate and the pitcher's mound. That bother a hitter when they're in that area?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit uncomfortable. You really have to concentrate. But when you're in the dark area and the pitcher's in the sun, it really makes you concentrate.
I would think you'd probably lose the ball. It seemed like you'd lose the ball halfway.
Yeah, it's
to
got
home
that
plate.
illusion to it.
Or not be able to see the ball spin as well.
I don't know how the guys hit with sunglasses on. I can't imagine that. Because no one did back when we played. You didn't have those kind of sunglasses. They're kind of hard to hit with the flip down shades. Flip them down as the ball's coming. That'd be difficult.
Fastball called strike 3.
Good pitch.
Got him on the inside corner. Springer a little dejected by that. That's 4 strikeouts for Tony Barnett. 5 hitters.
Yeah, Tony's got the strikeout pitch going for him. Looked like he cut that one right back toward the inside corner. And he's doing it with a nice assortment of pitches today.
Alex Bregman, the next hitter. Soft line drive to left. That's going to fall for a base hit. Bregman with his 3rd hit of the afternoon. is aboard with 2 outs, and Jose Altuve will be next. Well, for all the hits that didn't fall for Alex Bregman, his first few weeks with the Astros, they're falling now.
Yeah, I kind of give the Astros the credit of sticking with him rather than saying, okay, you're 0 for 30. Well, I guess we made a mistake. They just kept putting him out there, had confidence in him. He must have been having decent at bats and playing good defense, keeping his head above water. And he's come out of it very well. Coming into the game 35 for 111, so it's even better than that. That's 315. He's over 320 and well over 100 at bats now after that slow start. Much better indication of who he is based on what he's done over that period of time than what his overall average would be.
Altuve 0 for 3 this afternoon with an RBI. Drew a walk back in the first inning. Altuve getting a 346 as he faces Barnett. That gets away from Lucroy, so down to second goes Bregman. Like Jonathan had that skip off the heel of his glove. Yep, that breaking ball on the dirt just came up a little bit. Roy thought he had it pretty well gauged, but got away from it. So the wild pitch gets Bregman into scoring position for Altuve. 2 balls, no strikes to count. They're going to go ahead and walk him and deal with Carlos Correa. So you pick your poison, and I think the Rangers right now in this series especially a little more comfortable working to Correa than they are to Altuve, but 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. They both can hit.
I think in this case, you just have to go with who's got the better chance of getting a base hit. And by about 75 points, it's Altuve. Correa, on the other hand, knocked in 90 runs this year.
Yeah. Doug Rocaille out there to talk to his battery. I mentioned Tony Barnett with 4 strikeouts this afternoon. That's his most he's had in a game this year. He had 3 in a ball game against the Yankees in an inning and 2/3 back in June. But here in an inning and 2/3, he has 4 today against the Astros. So that conference concluded. Runners at first and second. Carlos Correa has an infield single in 4 trips. Rangers really need to get out of this inning with no further damage done. They trail by 2, and with 2 at bats left, if they need them, it would make a manageable comeback total. Ball 1. Jose Leclerc, the right-hander, just recalled from AAA today, and Alex Claudio, obviously the left-hander, getting loose in that Ranger bullpen. One 1-0 to Correa. That evens things up. Barnett had a pretty good breaking ball today. I'm not sure.
Yeah, good assortment stuff.
Yeah. Seen him have the good cutter or slider, whichever you want to call it. Haven't seen him have the throw the curveball as much as he has today, but he has had good command of it. Correa today 0 for 3 with runners on base. He's got 2 Astro teammates out there with Bregman at second, and Altuve at first. 2-1.
Got Correa a little bit too far inside for him to swing at that one. Maybe it was up a little bit, he would have swung at it.
Bregman had the base hit to left field with 2 outs. Jose Altuve had the intentional walk. it is again, pulling the string on the curveball. 2-2.
Nice solid curveball with excellent location.
Well, this sellout crowd now getting behind Tony Barnett and the Rangers. 2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Right back to Barnett off his glove. Altuve is forced at second by Odor, and that will do it. So nice job by Barnett and company working around a base hit and a walk. Bottom of the 8th coming up, 7-5 Houston.
Want to take series finale over the Astros 7-5. The scores we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. As I mentioned, this one wraps up a 10-game homestand. After this, it is back out on the road for a 10-game stretch. There you see pitching matchup in the opener between the M's and the Rangers is a dandy. Cole Hamels and Felix Hernandez. There you see the numbers on them. A holiday start tomorrow. 2:30 coverage begins. 3 o'clock first pitch from the West Coast. And we thank the fine folks at AT&T High-Speed Internet for getting us ready for the opener between the M's and the Rangers, guys.
All right, and thank you very much. Now, Luke Gregerson, another former closer for the Astros, on now to pitch the 8th inning. It's Moreland leading things off against him, and Gregerson throws that slider, which is his trademark, for strike 1. Moreland hit by a pitch. Other than that, 0 for 2 today. He's lined to center and grounded to third.
Gregerson's been extremely difficult to hit. A 172 batting average, 29 hits in 47 innings. Only giving up 3 home runs.
Nothing at 2 now. Gregerson came over as a free agent signed by the Astros prior to last season. Ended up having 31 saves and a 7-3 mark for the Astros in 2015. 0-2 to Mitch. Now those shadows of the light standard have crept all the way out to the mound. They are covering top of the mound, and Gregerson, that little shaft of light between the front of the mound and just out in front of home plate, and then Mitch and everybody around home plate in shadows. Pulled down the right field line, but hooked too much. Just out in front of that breaking ball, and Moreland still alive in the count. It's 0-2. Carlos Gomez waiting for his turn. Moreland is 1 for 4 against Gregerson, a double in that trip. Slow chopper to the right side. Gregerson will take it to the bag and tag Moreland. One unassisted. Moreland's retired. One gone for Gomez.
Left fielder Carlos Gomez.
Gregerson now facing his former teammate, Carlos Gomez. Gomez today 1 for 2. Had a bunt base hit his last time up. Also has walked and struck out today. Last time Gregerson worked was on the 30th during that Oakland series that the Astros had. One ball and no strikes. High in the air, hit pretty well to center field. Marisnik, though, has it under control. 2 gone. Well, bases empty, 2 away for Jurickson Profar. We have a second here. I'd like to remind you, you can follow Rangers Baseball live on MLB.com at Bat App. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and a lot more. Download MLB.com at Bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. A 2 outs, bases empty. Profar 1 for 3 as he steps in. Ball 1 is a bit low. Profar 0 for 1. The only time that he faced Luke Gregerson previously, he struck out. Average for Profar right at 260. 2-0. The hits are even at 10 this afternoon. Astros leading 7-5. 3 balls, no strikes. Profar taking all the way. So Jurickson trying to extend this 8th inning. Top of the order, Nomar Mazara in that on-deck circle. And not many in this crowd of better than 46,000 have gone anywhere. They are aching for a Ranger comeback, something to get thrilled about here in the last couple of innings. 3-1. Comeback wins. We mentioned the Rangers with 42 of them. That is 4 better than the Detroit Tigers or the New York Yankees, who are second in the American League. And Profar draws the 2-out walk.
Get that tying run to the plate. A lot of guys coming up have gone deep this year. Nomar the other day for sure.
I have a feeling that's what A.J. Hinch was thinking about right there when he was looking at
no 2-out walks.
Yeah.
With these guys coming up, yeah, I'm thinking he probably was on board with that.
Now, Nomar Mazara, a base hit in 4 trips today.
And he's got to wait. He's probably going to see a lot of breaking balls.
Nomar, it is 16th home run of the year yesterday. Sorry, Tom.
I was just going to say, you saw breaking balls from the cue in the 1st inning. Then in the 5th inning, saw some change-ups from Davinsky. Off-speed pitches down. He laid off the 1st one here from Gregerson.
The 1-0 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mazara's base hit came in the 5th inning. He singled to center to start that frame. That's when the Rangers put 3 on the board. You see the shift put on by the Astros. They shift more than anybody in Major League Baseball. There's that breaking ball you were talking about, Tom, and swung over the top of it. It's 1-2.
Yeah, now behind in the count, 1-2. He's probably going to see it again, and that's probably where it's going to be, if not a little lower. Trying to get a batter to swing at a bad pitch. Breaks a lot, just like the curveball McHugh threw broke a lot.
That's what Gaddis wants Gregerson to throw. In the dirt. That time Mazara able to check his swing on it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Breeze continuing to drift in from center field toward home plate. 91-degree afternoon here on this September the 4th. Rangers, including this afternoon, 26 games left to play. 2-2 to Mazara. Got him swinging. Came back with a fastball, got it up. Mazara down on strikes. Rangers finished, and we have finished 8 innings at Globe Life Park. It's the Astros 7 and the Rangers 5.
As they try to make this a 9-1 homestand, we welcome you back to Globe Life Park in the Captain Morgan Club. I'm John Radigan. After the game, it's a complete post-game wrap-up. We'll hear from Jeff Bannister. We'll hear from the players as well. Weigh in on Yu Darvish and his start. Mark McLemore joins me. We check in with Buzz and Tom and get lots of post-game reaction, too. It's the end of the homestand, so we'll be getting out of here quick. Right after the game, it's Rangers Live, guys.
All right, John, thank you. Well, we head to the top of the 9th inning. And young Jose Leclerc has just been called up today, and he will be on the mound. Last 15 ball games for Leclerc at AAA Round Rock. He had a 1.77 ERA. This is his 4th major league appearance. He rejoined the Rangers back in July in Boston. Made his major league debut with the Boston Red Sox, the opponent. Pitched 3 times very quickly in that first week, and then was optioned back to AAA. Gurriel. Big swing and a foul tip that hit everybody behind home plate.
Gurriel's got a nice swing. He looks like he's going to be an excellent hitter. As far as the Astros are concerned, he better be. They've given him a 5-year contract. But he looks like he can handle the fastball, and last time up on a pitch down and away, looked like a slider. He hit a rope right at shortstop.
Yeah, he's down on the count to Jose Leclerc. No balls and 2 strikes. Leclerc, a 22-year-old out of Esperanza in the Dominican Republic. Breaking ball, see you later. That's the changeup. Jose Leclerc has a changeup that goes both ways. It depends on which way he wants to hold it.
There's not someone that's watched a lot of baseball in 1,000 years that if they saw that pitch for the first time would call it a changeup.
Yeah, you're right.
You have to call that thing a slider. But
well, his first 2 times I think that I saw, I called it a slider.
Yeah.
Every time he threw it, he's no, that's a changeup.
You have to, unless someone tells you, and that's what happened. That's not a slider. It's a changeup. I don't know how he makes it do that, but I'm not a pitcher.
Oh, 1 out. Here's Evan Gattis. He is 1 for 4 this afternoon. Had a solo home run in the 5th inning. Other than that, hasn't put the ball in play. He struck out the other 3 times. .251 average, 24 home runs for Gattis. .1-0 pitch from Leclerc. 1-1. That young man making some memories out here today. Got himself a foul ball and Mom hanging on to him. He's about ready to throw that back. That was coming our way.
Yep. Yeah, he looks like he's paying attention to what's going on too. Kids are so different. A lot of kids will come to the game and not even know there's a game going on. Want the cotton candy and watch the mascot. Other kids will come, boy, they just zero in on the action, waiting for a foul ball. Jose Leclerc.
Yes, he did. Back-to-back strikeouts as he goes upstairs with authority. Gattis gone, 2 away.
He quick pitched him.
He did. He did.
Gattis was taking his practice swing and he just went to step forward and threw it.
That's what the Ranger pitchers used to call the bull rush. I don't know if they still call it that or not, but same idea.
The youngster outwitted the veteran right there. Of course, how in the world would you know that was coming? You can see how he normally goes into his delivery to the plate.
And Rasmus rips a first pitch fastball to right for a 2-out single. Rasmus with his second hit of the afternoon is aboard. And Tyler White now will come up. 11th hit of the afternoon for the Houston Astros. Tyler White 0 for 3 today. Walked and scored in the 4th inning. Other than that, has grounded out 3 times. Towering fly ball to left field. Gomez retreating, has room. Carlos puts it away, and that'll do it. No runs, a 2-out single. Jose Leclerc gets through the 9th inning. Rangers come to bat in the bottom of the 9th. Ian Desmond, Carlos Beltran, Adrian Beltre, trailing by 2. Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. by AT&T high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your Texas Ford dealer today during the final days of the Ford Freedom Sales Event. And see why Ford is the best in Texas. Ken Giles has come out of the Astros bullpen now. He is the closer du jour for the Astros. Giles will face the heart of the Ranger order. Desmond, Beltran, Beltre, Odor, and Lucroy, the first 5 hitters to face him. 58th appearance of the year for Giles. 2-3, a 3.54 ERA. The first pitch to Desmond, that's driven high and deep to left center field. Going back, Rasmus at the track, at the wall, he can't get it, it's off the wall. Desmond not stopping at second. He is on his way to third, standing with a leadoff triple.
That's the way to get the fans into the 9th inning. That's almost better than a home run. You need 2 runs anyway.
Yep.
That just gets everybody pumped up. Now the pitcher's got to see the guy over on third base. Home run, just kind of start over again with nobody on base.
Well, didn't take Ian Desmond long. First pitch, almost see you later.
Yeah, like a cutter, slider, right down the middle of the plate. Tried to get ahead with it. Ian spoiled that play, and now you've got the big boys coming up now.
A tying run at the plate, Carlos Beltran. Fastball for strike 1. Rasmus and Marisnik almost got to that, but Desmond had it perfectly placed out there. Giles with the 0-1 pitch. 0-2.
At 100 miles an hour.
Beltran 0 for 1 against Giles. Carlos today 2 for 4, a single and a double. Out of play. 101 miles an hour for Giles. If he stays away, though, I don't think that it's going to be much of a problem for a hitter like Beltran. Go ahead and time that. Almost 60% of the time, Beltran's got that runner home from third with less than 2 out. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. And Beltran down on strikes. The high fastball got him. 1 out.
Well, you got to tune it up to hit 100 miles an hour. It's hard to check your swing.
Yep.
Didn't look like it in real action, but you watched the replay and it did.
Now 1 away. Desmond still at third. Adrian Beltre 1 for 3. A single and a walk today. First pitch from Giles. Beltre 2 out of 3 with a double against Ken Giles. Rougned Odor loosening in the on-deck circle, hoping to come to the plate as the winning run in this ball game. 1-1. Last time Giles worked 4 days ago against the Oakland A's, got his 7th save of the year. One to Beltre. Chopped into the hole. That's going to get the run home. Desmond scores. Correa throws out Beltre. It makes it a 7-6 Houston game, but they're now 2 outs and the bases empty for Rougned Odor. Adrian Beltre drives in his 91st run of the year. Odor stepping to the plate, 1 for 4 against Ken Giles. Today, Rougned 3 out of 4. 2 singles, a 2-run home run. Remember, he's already had 3 2-run home games this year. Home run games this year. And he got the first pitch breaking ball from Giles. Brugnet had that swing tuned up to its highest when he left the on-deck circle.
He saw the scoreboard. He saw it say 100 miles an hour.
Rips that foul into the Ranger dugout, right over the top of the protective screen. Hit the back wall, and whatever was back there got pummeled. Well, Tuesday with Odor, the dead center field. The walk-off. Rangers won that ball game against Seattle. One and 2. Evan Gattis flashing the signs out. Ken Giles ready. Got him swinging. Good with the breaking ball. Odor gone on strikes. Rangers come up a run short, and their 7-game winning streak has come to a close. A run on a hit, nobody left, and the Astros win the final game of this 3-game set, 7-6, the final here this afternoon. So the Rangers comebacks came up a couple of runs short in several innings. Late in the ball game, they gave the Astros all they wanted, and Houston able to get the final out on this strikeout of Rougned Odor. Breaking ball from Ken Giles. And that sealed the fate of the Rangers. So the Rangers will hit the road and start a new winning streak. They hope tomorrow against the Mariners. We're back to Globe Life Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.